Back in 1977, the world gathered in Lagos, Nigeria for a thrilling cultural experience tagged Festival of Arts and Culture, FESTAC. The aim of FESTAC is to promote African culture and tradition, which remains an important recourse to sanity and continental development. But in a world of constant political and economic changes, culture and cultural exchanges is usually not seen as a veritable tool for moderating and salvaging societal unrest and tension.
And that sets the tone for our next discussion. From January the 15th, 1977 to February the 12th, same year, Nigeria played host to the second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture, also known as FESTAC 77, at the National Theatre Complex. It was one of the remarkable celebrations of arts and culture, and especially at the FESTAC Village in Lagos.
Absolutely. And starting from November the 6th, UNESCO and CBAC they'll be having a one-week commemoration of the event in Lagos at 40 years. Now, the objective of the festival is to seek and reestablish the culture and confidence of the Black and other African races.
Indeed. And joining us to discuss this is the Director General, Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, OZO, Dr. Ferdinand Anekwe. I hope I did justice.
No, let me help you. OZO.
OZO, okay, it's OZO. Oh, and I was trying to nail it. Okay, it's OZO. Dr. Ferdinand Anekwe. It's all about promoting arts and culture this morning. And thank you for joining us. FESTAC 77, even those that were not born that time but that followed the history of Nigeria knew well about it, especially every time they go to FESTAC. They always get the historical background of that settlement. So commemorating this at this time, and it's not even just in Nigeria. Some countries even indicating interest in celebrating and commemorating the anniversary, the 40th anniversary of that beautiful event that put Nigeria on the world map. Tell us more about it.
Thank you very much. FESTAC 77, we used to say it all the time, is the singular most important cultural event since the creation of man. And we thank God it was done here in Nigeria. And our interest in commemorating this is to let the young people know that there had been genuine and wonderful contributions in the creative economy sector by our forebears. Good enough, General Olusegun Obasanjo is still alive till this moment, and is one person we want to honor. There are many other people who call FESTAC heroes, with whom we are going to celebrate and commemorate this most important cultural event since man creation. Well, for the young people, for them to go through the array of genuine cultural programs that came from several African countries, our blacks in diaspora, our brothers, that are people who just merely loved Nigeria, who merely loved African continent, and they were there. I give you an example. At Addis Ababa, when we had a meeting of Pan-African Cultural Congress, I made a few submissions on FESTAC 77, and of course, Nollywood. And the people were as excited as ever. And that attracted a position for me as the president of Pan-African Cultural Congress Bureau without any election. Because after my address, I left back for Nigeria. And they now emailed the results of an election to me. And they felt my submissions, my presentation, had been cardinal to the promotion of culture across the entire African continent. Okay, and so, don't forget that cultural Pan-Africanism is the theme and center of what the blacks require today to show the world their genuine contributions in world history. Anything you want to talk about Timbuktu, about Egypt, about early settlements in Nigeria, will point to cultural programs that show unique contribution to human progress.
But there seems to be some kind of misunderstanding or wrong perception when we talk about culture. I mean, what readily comes to mind is dance, masquerades and all of that. Does culture, when it comes to Nigeria, go beyond just the dance, music and all of that? Where is technology? Where is science in the mix.
My sister, is just necessary that you do some clarifications.
Yes.
Most importantly, what you've mentioned are part of culture, but they are not actually culture alone. There are many other things that are part. For instance, the succeeding educational programs in various generations are actually culture. And the education means to ensure that the culture of a people continue.
It's propagated.
And so the culture is all embracing. It includes your agriculture, it includes the way you talk, it includes the clothes you put on, it includes your even reasoning tendencies. If you see a German and a Briton on stage, you immediately see the dissimilarities.
Just like when you see a Chinese man, you know he's Chinese through what he's wearing and, of course, what he's eating. Now, so how do we harness all of this? Fela, while he was alive, said that Africa has not, taken its place in influencing the global community when it comes to, what it has to bring to the table. Whether in the area of food, our dressing, everything. Can we colonize the world?
What we're saying is that even our brothers in Western Europe and North America want to associate with us because we have the deepest in terms of culture, in terms of our philosophy, in terms of our history. They merely maximize the few aspects of theirs, and the whole world appears to be going to
But it seems that Nigeria is not embracing the culture anymore. Nigeria is very rich in different cultural beliefs and, of course, background. But then you see that the young ones growing up do not have that interest like the parents did.
No, those are misplaced emphasis. It is not that they don't have the interest. It is that they have not been properly focused on what they are supposed to do. And one of the functions of what we are going to do starting from Monday is to refocus, redirect, and re-emphasize the essential contributions of our history, of our people's growth in terms of world civilization. And the youths, if they come in their mass numbers, they will watch these interesting aspects. The difference between us and the white man is that anything the white man sees, he sees it as a perspective and an interesting area of study. But a lot of times,
cultural direction, they seem to be influenced by foreign culture more than their own. They don't want to identify with their own culture.
Sorry,
that's why people will criticize those going for New Yam Festival in the East or those going for the Oyo Festival in Lagos and different festivals.
Like Oshobo Festival for that matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, so listen, you see, without engaging in self-praise, I'm a PhD holder in public policy. There is no country that goes into socio-economic transformation without a leadership stand. As far as we are concerned, those in government should come up with the policies. I keep making references to Osun State government, who in 2 years ago came up with a legislation that for anybody to go to another class, he or she would have passed Yoruba language. You see, in our languages, there is a lot of content of deep philosophy, tendencies, history, our own myths, our own realities, our own scientific endeavors. Some of these were there before the white man came. And we're saying that it is only when the government of the day, federal, state, and local, emphasize the cultural, the curriculum development process that will eventually constitute what you teach.
So is that how we can actually harness all of this, the cultural renaissance which you talk about?
Education must be in tandem with the culture for us to get the proper students and products of the system. Let me tell you one thing I told them when we went for public debate in Senate over one of those legislative processes in one of our parastatals. I told them that the curriculum content in Nigeria has not produced a Nigerian. The curriculum content from primary to tertiary institutions had produced professionals in Ijo, Yoruba, Igbo, Ijukun, what have you, Hausa, Fulani, and that would have brought an integrative cultural program that would have produced a Nigerian. America has the greatest number of races on earth, and yet every person you see there, after eating all those, their big food, they say, I'm an American. No,
but have we even defined, have we defined what we want that Nigerian to be?
What we're trying to say
or who we want that Nigerian to be, so that we can
Nigeria,
work towards
for instance, starting from language.
Yes.
from the primary school, your brain is empty. I still need anything you are taught, you copy all of them.
Yeah.
You can do 3, 4, 5 languages as you are coming. As you are all growing to secondary school. From these languages, you're already a total Nigerian. So there will be no hate speech. If hate speech is because I'm using Igbo and I don't understand Yoruba or Hausa, then you say one thing there. When I understood it, when you say it, I say, why are you using this now? And it becomes a joke. That wouldn't have been any hate speech.
In fact,
we want an integrative, centrifugal cultural program that will integrate Nigerians. It is not too late.
It's quite important.
There's another example I want to give you.
Yeah.
At the political front, we were in a mad rush to import the political and cultural programs from overseas. An example is the Westminster bed model, which Prime Minister, Premise interferes and all that. We brought it to Nigeria. But there was a snag, there was a loophole on crossing carpet. It was done in Ibadan. An election was won, somebody was to be the premier. They crossed carpet, and that was the genesis of a lot of confusion in this country. Let me tell you again, when Obasanjo remains an important part of our history, in 1979, decided to hand over power again to the civilians. Then, rather than go through our cultural revival process, because we had political processes that are already inbuilt in our cultural program, the Yoruba monarchical absolutism, the Hausa Fulani ruling aristocracy, the Igbo over consensual democracy, all of them would have built a very powerful political system that was giving us our own stand in the World Committee of Nations.
So
but please,
I have to come in here.
When we now traveled across the Atlantic after Obasanjo had told us to take over political system through democracy, we now went in and brought the presidential system again. When the presidential system came, few years later, Balarabe Musa was impeached in Kaduna. Why do we go for the negative? Why we
so
have
the concept of
cultural program,
homegrown democracy, homegrown, is that what we're talking about? Homegrown democracy?
No, what
we have there.
Yes, thank you. You can call it homegrown democracy, but what we're trying to say is that we could have built this development process from our culture.
But Nigerian cultures are not even used to democracy.
No, that's what we're trying to say is that we would have, in short, the Igbo governance process.
It's more of egalitarian system.
Wait. Well, no. It was superior to any kind of democracy anywhere. We've read all these books, my sister. We've read all these books. It was, they said it was, the white men saw the superiority of the ideas and said that they were cephalous, they were stateless, they were unorganized, they were not industrial. They were using...
Okay, because of time. Let me come in here. Because of time.
People recognized that you need to consult.
Okay, back to FESTAC.
It's even translated in our dancing patterns and styles. And from this sector, if you give me enough time,
okay,
I'll
we don't have enough time.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time.
So back to FESTAC. Men, of course, there are so many people still criticizing the conduct of FESTAC 77. They said, in fact, it set the tone for Nigeria's financial woes till today, that it was a waste on the part of the military government led by former head of state Olusegun Obasanjo, and that afterwards there was no clear-cut plan on how to, articulate the cultural benefits of the country, and then the continental aspect of it all.
No,
and they just wanted an opportunity to siphon money and waste funds.
We'll continue to eulogize and revere the people that brought this concept. The problem Nigeria always had is our inability of continuity in good programs. You want to say that FESTAC finished our money and all that. Nigerians do not sustain programs. FESTAC Town is one example all over the world where a town emerged and our brothers in diaspora became neighbors, and integrative cultural process started from there. Even after those are friends who came from over the globe left, the Nigerians who now constituted the main FESTAC town became the only true Nigerians.
So what do you say to those who say it wasn't just wastage when it comes to
I'm giving examples to show that it's not a waste.
And some even say that it brought in, demons and all kinds of spirits into Nigeria.
My answer to that, excuse me, my answer to that is that if FESTAC, because there was just one a traditional prayer that was done by the Oba of Lagos. If that thing brought demons, then all the bishops should resign. If actually that prayer only, which was even not the calling of the libation by the Oba of Lagos, brought demons, then all the Christian bishops and priests should resign.
The Africans
so that we follow that one. It means that that one is more powerful.
Okay.
I'm only saying that it is wrong for them to come with that kind of concept. The beautiful thing that was brought here, every other country has been clamoring to have this experience, and our people, it is their inability to understand.
Okay, before we run away, when is this event holding?
The event starts from
you'll be honoring
6th of
some
November,
Nigerians.
Sports Center, University of Lagos,
okay,
for the opening ceremony. We're going to crown Obasanjo, who actually came with this concept and God saw it to fruition. All of the FESTAC heroes, some ambassadors, will be given their plaques in a very carefully designed artistic representation of the powerful people of Africa, African descent, who are either here or abroad. We are saying you should join us. We're also going to do all kinds of cultural parade from those countries that have accepted to be there. When it was done before, we paid free for them, we accommodated them. This time we're not doing the same, and they are still eager. Many of them are nostalgic. Many are looking for the best that we can offer. Nothing has happened here better than FESTAC. So those who go on the negative, maybe they don't like the people who organize this, or let them bring superior ideas to this. And everybody is a critic in Nigeria. Our press people will come in and run us down where we have any negative thing. Why don't you come constructively?
Well, you can be sure you have our support, Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe. If you missed the FESTAC in 1977, I didn't miss it. I saw bits of it. I remember Okelangbodo, Ipitombi, and the rest of them. Don't miss this one. We wish you the very best, of course. And we hope that Nigeria will really come to its own when it comes to culture and influencing the global arena. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.